Welcome back to another edition of the NBA Fantasy Baller Podcast, DFS edition. I'm your host, Nickfromcwe, also known on all of your favorite fantasy sites as Nick from CWE, and we are here to break down my top 3 tournament plays for tonight, Friday, March 31st, 2017. We are at the end of March. It's been a very crazy fast year, the fastest of my life, and I don't expect it to get slower anytime soon. We are 2 days away from pretend opening day, 3 days away from the real opening day of Major League Baseball. Yes, we will continue to produce videos for MLB and beyond. Let's recap last night. We had Damian Lillard, who came through with a big fantasy outing, continuing his hot play, 58 some odd fantasy points. Excuse me, man. I can't get rid of this cough. 58 fantasy points on DraftKings. Not sure where he clocked in on FanDuel. I haven't checked over there yet. But nonetheless, very good point per dollar play. DeAndre Jordan didn't do bad. Was actually very shocked. Jordan was the only one I had any exposure to last night because I really thought that Blake or CP3 was going to get rested. It didn't happen. DeAndre at 6,900 on FanDuel came through with 38 fantasy points. We'll take that. I don't think he was ever on my radar on FanDuel where he was like 7,900. That's just a lot of money. You don't get the double-double bonus. A lot of things to keep you away from him on FanDuel. And then Kyrie Irving has just entered untrustworthy zone. Bounced back from an 11 fantasy point outing on Tuesday. I think he finished with 30 fantasy points, but he was awful. I mean, 30 fantasy points, but was just not good on the court. His awareness is gone. This whole Cavs team, to be completely honest with you, if you are a fan, there is a reason to be legitimately concerned. They don't look like the team of last year. LeBron can only do so much. I still think they should have never fired David Blatt. That's why LeBron has no future in the game in terms of general manager, maybe coaching, but he just makes irrational decisions, or rather he forces irrational decisions onto the ownership group because they don't want to make him upset, and we already know that he will leave. So, Kyrie Irving, sorry buddy, but you're probably firmly on the DTA list for the rest of the year. I really like how today shapes up. Very strong slate of games. First, I want to talk about the Cavs again because they're on a back-to-back. They're playing Philly. I would definitely pay attention to the news as the day grows on. I cannot imagine. I mean, who knows, though? The Cavs are trying. They're saying they don't really care about the top spot, but they had the chance to regain it last night. They didn't. We'll see what happens, but they could sit some guys on a back-to-back against a Philly team that I'm confident Deron Williams and Channing Frye should be able to beat. George Hill is out, so I do think that raises the upside of Rudy Gobert and Gordon Hayward. But to start things out tonight, I want to look at Gary Harris, 10-9 on Fantasy Draft, 6-1 on FanDuel, 5,500 on DraftKings. Will Barton is questionable. We already know Gary Harris just sees an enormous amount of time on the court. I don't know why his price is at 5,500 on DraftKings. It basically just feels like an empty square or a what I'm trying to say is he's a guy that's just going to be a chalk play for myself and quite a few other people. Charlotte really struggles with true shooters. We've seen them give up big games to the likes of DeMar DeRozan. I think Harris and maybe even a guy like Wilson Chandler somewhat can benefit from this, but his price is just way too cheap on DraftKings, so I'm going to load up on him. Next up, I want to drop Stephen Curry into a ton of my lineups. He's in Damian Lillard range with me right now, and I told myself, like, if Steph was under 9,500 on DraftKings tonight, with the 3-point bonus, the opportunity for, double-double and potentially triple-double points, there was no question that I was going to have to use him in at least 40% of my lineups, maybe as many as 50. 17-6 fantasy draft, 10-2 FanDuel, 9,500 DraftKings, going up against Houston Rockets team coming off of a back-to-back, playing a really tight game against Portland last night. Blowout concerns. Vegas doesn't see it. It is possible. Harden is reeling a little with his wrist, but you've seen Trevor Ariza start to pick things up. So as long as someone else on the team is starting to do something, I feel confident that they've got enough depth that they can hang in there. I think we'll see a full allotment of minutes, and 9,500 on DraftKings, guys and gals, way too cheap for what Steph Curry could do tonight. Finally, this guy just stays consistently underpriced, and it's nuts when I say the name and I say the words underpriced and consistently. DeMarcus Cousins, center, New Orleans Pelicans, 17-7 on Fantasy Draft, 9,600 on FanDuel and DraftKings. Like, this dude just turns out 50 and 60 point performances. Even if he hits like 45 or 46, he's not killing you at that price. Like, you'll be upset because you want him to get to that 60 point mark, but it's not a killer. Who in the world on Sacramento is going to hope to stop him? He should have a field day. I mean, to me, I'm looking floor 50, ceiling 65, and I don't do the narrative thing. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, DeMarcus Cousins is playing his old team, but you got to imagine that something just tells me that they're going to try to filter the offense through him tonight. This might be the exception to the rule where I let that weigh in just a little bit tonight, but he's a great play. So that makes our top 3 tournament targets: Gary Harris, Stephen Curry, DeMarcus Cousins. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking subscribe below. Head over to researchfantasy.com and sign up for our NBA mailing list. Head over to Facebook, like us there, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.